The moment a baby is born, it gets attacked with several microbes around it. But not all organisms are successful in their attack. However, the body too is not successful in the battle either. There may be some infection which successfully infect us, our body, irrespective of our age groups. Many a time, some infection repeats its occurrence again and again. So, what do we mean by infection? It is the act of becoming or making somebody ill, leading to one or the other diseases. And what is disease? It is simply said to be body when it is not in ease. The word dis-ease literally means disturbed ease or a person who is uncomfortable. Thus, we can define disease as the malfunctioning of the body or a part of it due to one or the other reason. In other words, we can say disease is the condition of the body or a part of it in which functions are disturbed. Diseases are caused due to various reasons. The first one is genetic disorders or defective heredity. We can say that it is the deficiencies with which a child is born or the deficiency or defects which the child inherit from the parents since birth. The second reason is due to infections by various pathogens. And the third major reason is due to the lifestyle that we have, that includes food, water that we take, rest, or the exercise that we give to our bodies, habits that we have or lack. One more concept which we need to know is disorder. So what is disorder? It is when the body is not able to work properly or out of order. So can we say that diseases are different from that of disorders? Let us look upon the different types of diseases here in order to understand the difference between disease and disorder. There are two types of diseases: congenital or genetic diseases and acquired diseases. Congenital diseases are those which are inborn diseases or present from birth, while acquired diseases are those which we get after the birth at some point of our life. In this chapter, we shall be emphasizing on acquired diseases. Acquired diseases are of two kinds: disease and disorder. Here we shall see the difference between disease and disorder because technically both are different from each other. Diseases are those which are caused due to infection of various pathogens and parasites, while disorders are those defects that are obtained due to the agents other than the pathogens or parasite. That means here there is no involvement of any pathogens or parasites. Diseases are transmissible. That means such diseases can be transferred from one person to other, or we can say from infected individual to the healthy person. While disorders are non-transmissible. That means it is restricted to an individual itself. Disorders are not transferred from one person to other. While there are chances that genetically such defect can be transferred from the mother to the child. Thus, we can segregate acquired diseases into two major groups: infectious and non-infectious. Infectious are those diseases that are transmissible, whereas Non-infectious diseases or disorders are non-transmissible. Infectious diseases are also called as communicable diseases, as such diseases are transmissible from one person to another, while non-infectious diseases or disorders are non-communicable diseases, as it do not transmit the disease from one person to other, as the disease is restricted to a particular individual. For example, heart diseases, cancer or respiratory diseases or diabetes that is restricted to a particular individual, while malaria, HIV or chickenpox that is easily transmissible from one person to another, and thus it is communicable or infectious disease. Thus, infectious diseases can be contagious or non-contagious. That means the disease that is spread from one person to another either directly, that is called as contagious diseases, or the diseases can be transmissible from one person to another indirectly, called as non-contagious diseases. So here there are certain agencies by which the disease can be transferred from one person to another. So there is a particular intermediate between the person to person, while contagious diseases are directly spread from one person to another. It do not require any intermediate in between. Thus, mode of transmission of infectious diseases can be either directly or indirectly. Here, in direct transmission, that is contagious, the pathogens of some diseases are carried directly to the human body without any intermediate agents. Such transmission can occur through direct contact between the infected individual and healthy person. For example, smallpox, chickenpox, syphilis, measles are several examples which a person gets through direct contact. Second, it can be through droplets, that is by sneezing, coughing, spitting and talking. For example, diphtheria, influenza, common cold, measles, tuberculosis, pneumonia, etc. It can also spread through contact with the soil. For example, tetanus. Rabies is one of the diseases that is transferred from the animal to human. For example, dog. While indirect transmissions are those where the pathogens of certain diseases reach the human body through some intermediate agents. So it can occur through several means. Mosquito and housefly are called as vectors, therefore they will transmit vector-borne diseases. For example, malaria or the housefly transmit disease such as typhoid, cholera, dysentery, etc. There are certain vehicle-borne diseases too that are spread through contaminated food, water and blood. For example, cholera, dysentery, typhoid, AIDS, hepatitis B, etc. There are certain airborne diseases that are transmitted through wind currents, aerosols or dust, and also certain contaminated articles that cause fomite-borne diseases such as diphtheria. Infectious diseases, as we know that it is caused due to pathogens. So what are pathogens or microorganisms that harms the individual or human body? Pathos means suffering and gens means producing. That means infectious diseases are caused by the organism that produce suffering to our body. So these organisms harms the host, that is human body, either by living inside the body or on them. Thus, the organism will enter inside our body through various means such as direct contact or droplets or through contaminated food or water. And inside the host or our body, they will start multiplying, and that will lead to malfunctioning of the body. So there will be morphological and functional damage that we see within us due to the presence of organism or infection of these organisms. Very important to note here that the pathogens or the organisms are the foreign bodies that enter in our body, right? So these pathogen that infects the host and tries to survive within the body has to adapt in the life within the environment of the host. For example, we have acidic pH of stomach, or there are several hydrolytic activities of various digestive enzymes that are present. So these organisms should be able to adapt in that environment and survive there. There are various common infectious diseases depending upon what type of pathogen has infected our body. So these diseases can be viral diseases, bacterial diseases, protozoan diseases, fungal diseases, or helminthic diseases. In the coming videos, we shall be learning several infectious diseases with respect to various pathogens. That is about the infectious or communicable diseases. Non-infectious or non-communicable diseases that are restricted to a particular individual can be affected by different means. Non-infectious disorders can be due to allergies. That is, if we see here, it is other than the pathogens or parasites. Here, for example, pollens or dust, molds, or due to animals, we get certain allergies. It can be deficiency syndromes or some degenerative disorders due to old age. Mental disorders, say for example due to stress. Cancer, which is a fatal disease nowadays, and due to certain addiction that we get. We shall learn several examples of non-infectious disorders too in this chapter. So, in the coming videos, we will see how the infectious diseases are transferred from one person to another. What are the causal agents? What are the symptoms that we see in an infected individual? And also, we would see the non-infectious disorders, their causes and their symptoms, as well as their effects on our body.